Hey everyone, I'm Nick and welcome to the channel. If you've been watching for a while, you'll already know that I rebuilt a 2006 Range Rover Sport. If you haven't, you can check it out right here. At the end of that rebuild, Rob took the keys as payment for all the help and then gave me a totaled L322 Supercharged Range Rover that I rebuilt for myself, which you can check out right here. Now, a couple weeks ago, which you may have seen in an earlier video, I got a phone call to get the trailer ready because I had to pick up a now totaled Range Rover Sport. So here it is. Let's take a look at what's wrong. Now, the eagle-eyed among you will have noticed that this is not the Range Rover Sport that I rebuilt, thankfully, because otherwise Rob would be crying on the floor over there. But it is actually a 2009 Range Rover Sport. So same generation, essentially the same spec, which we'll look at a little further. But the question is, why do I have this? What am I going to do with this truck? Well, it turns out his truck has been great, but the one complaint he's had is the interior, which is a little worn out after, a lot of mileage, 180,000 plus sitting 2 years at Copart, being wet and hot. Well, you saw it in the rebuild. And this one has a very nice interior. Very nice.
Don't I bring you the nicest stuff?
Well, it is pretty nice, but it's also pretty damaged.
No, it's glorious. This thing is amazing.
I guess so. I mean, the 20-inch rims are nice.
20-inch rims are, they're
scuffed.
They're scuffed to hell and back, but they're the best.
Yeah.
But the interior, show them the interior.
All right, let's get this off because this door damage actually shifted the door, so I taped it up so it wouldn't get water in it. All right, so let's take a look.
See, even the battery works. This thing is mint.
That's true. All right, I guess let's start.
Don't pay attention to any of that. That's just no.
Well, the first thing I want to say is it's a shame we don't have smell-o-vision because this actually smells like a new car. It's crazy. I don't know what the previous owner did, but the seats are soft. It smells like new clean car / leather. It's really nice. Let's see. Let me show you. Look at that. It's pristine.
So, found this in the trunk, by the way. Full service history. And when I pulled the history of this car, it was originally a lease, and then the person bought it. So it's a one-owner car, and I have the service history. I can't wait to go through this.
Yeah,
this truck is insane.
Look at this. The dash isn't cracked. We think it was garaged its whole life, which is very good for us. Now, we've got some parts in the back here, and, well, we'll get into this in a little bit.
Oh, the nightmare of getting this part. Yeah, but this headlight's undamaged, the grill's undamaged.
So what came with the truck? This headlight, in perfect condition, is actually the headlight from the truck. We have the grill, which is perfect. Those are mud flaps.
Yes.
We actually took them off when we put the truck on the trailer because we didn't want them to get damaged by the straps. And, well, we have a cargo cover, factory cargo cover. We've got... The first thing we saw, actually, before we rearranged it was the rubber mats, which are pretty rare. But this is incredibly rare, which is the carpet mats, which...
They are usually, not there, gone.
Damaged.
Also, the headliner on this truck is only blousing a little bit,
Here.
which is very rare for these trucks. They're usually falling down.
Yeah, it's nuts. And the back seat, well, we have the rear seat entertainment, which is nice. The seats at the back are also just as nice as the front seats. Just in such good shape. Like, everything is clean, everything is nice. We even have the remote for the rear seat entertainment system.
Speaking of working, everyone's probably thinking, this truck is sitting on the ground.
Yeah, it is sitting a little low. And, you know, it's missing some trim, but... So let's start it up and see. A little dusty from the Copart yard, but you'll notice original red coolant, very minimal oil buildup here. Pretty normal stuff. We even have the battery covers in the trunk too. Okay, let's see here. Oh, and the mileage is 114,385 miles. So that is low. Let's see it start. All right, let's close this and see it air up. And there it goes.
See, I told you, mint.
It sounds really good. What else is there to mention in here? Oh, well, we do have a headlight warning. The only warning light we have is tire pressure because they were flat when we picked up the truck, and active headlights because one of the headlights is out. Otherwise, it is great. I mean, everything works. Hey, it even has this. It even has the cup holder cover. Let's see. Do we have anything in here? Spare bulbs. That's nice. Owner's manuals here. More paperwork.
More paperwork?
Yeah.
God, this thing is wild.
Emissions report from 2021. Toyota stuff. Because I think it was serviced at Toyota. And the bracket here. I think this is a headlight bracket. A little C. And a toothbrush. Also have some change. An adapter. Perfect. And a fridge with paperwork in it. But it has a few more options. Heated steering wheel. The phone system and voice controls that the other one we rebuilt doesn't have, but will have, I guess. It is not peeling up here. If you're a Range Rover Sport enthusiast, you might know over time these just peel up from exposure to the sun and heat and stuff. And this one is perfect, probably because it was garaged. So we'll have to just make sure we put in a sunshade all the time. So we do have a flat here. It'll air up, but it won't hold air apparently. And then under here, the fuel tank shield is shredded, which is probably from being picked up and forklifted around at Copart, unfortunately. So we'll have to replace that as well. So the interior is unbelievably nice, and it's actually in pretty good condition besides this. So, you know, this is not mint, but...
Okay, not mint, but... I mean... Well, maybe let them decide. Because they don't know yet how much we paid for this truck.
That's true. That's true. Do you want to tell them?
Your channel.
This, we won at the Copart auction for $575. One owner, 114,000 miles. That interior.
Mint.
I guess so.
It's all relative.
Yeah.
I mean, $12,000? No. Shitbox. $575?
Perfect. Yeah. That's true. So, yeah, I guess we'll have to get the parts and rebuild it.
I already have the parts. That fender, that wasn't the only thing I got. Got a door, I've got the wheel liner, and I've got all the plastic cladding.
I think we have a spare fuel tank shield.
Yes, because we
From
thought
the
mine
other.
might have been damaged when we bought it. So, yes,
Over.
we could probably put this back together in a day.
That's true. Should we do it?
Might as well try.
All right, let's get started. So this is a door. We have a door. It's You'll notice it's a little different on the inside. It's actually from a 2011, but that doesn't really matter because we're not using this door card. We're going to use the one from the truck and put it on here so it all matches because the door itself is the same. So we'll just have to pop that off, pop the new one on, and then figure out if the connections are the same or not, because this is for a truck that has memory seats in the door, and maybe the connections will be a little different, but we'll find out. So one thing to note about this and the fender we have is that it's not exactly the same color, because Land Rover has, on this generation of truck, at least 3 whites. We've got Alaska white, we've got Chawton white, which is the other one we rebuilt, and we've got Fuji white. So it will look a little different. It'll be a little whiter here and here for now, but it'll be good enough to get it back on the road. Let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is remove the original door.
Oh, you got it.
So to remove this connector here, there's this little cap. You gotta lift it up, and that'll allow this to pull outwards. And then we can unplug it once it's out of the door. So with that released, this can come out, so we can remove the door and then disconnect the connectors here. So we're gonna undo these 2 bolts, and then up here these 2, which we'll have to open the hood for. The door can come off. A T50 here. Yep. Oh, this is a different connector from the other one. Okay. All right, so it turns out there's a little bit of damage in here. You can see this is banged in. We're gonna see if we can pull this back out a bit, smooth this out. And then this we should be able to leave. I don't think that's too much. So we'll just work on this a bit. And then we're gonna put a little bit of rust treatment on this corner here while we work on it, so it doesn't get worse over time. So, yeah. And this is the connector here. So these little wing type things will flip up. So you have to release from here and pivot it down. Same thing on the other side. And that will release. You see there's a little cam lock in there. So when we put the new door on, plug that in, pop that back in, and it'll be good. Now on the doors, you can kind of see the color difference already. This is a little beigeier than that. The speakers are in the same place, but there's one main difference. Well, the harness is different because this is a later model. So we're gonna have to figure that out, swap that over. Oh, the window regulator plug's different, unfortunately. We'll have to see. And then the screws on the 2011, there's a screw here, and on the 09, that's up here, and then this here on the 2011 is straight. That goes in at an angle here, so we're gonna have to swap this over to the new door, and this over to the new door, and probably the window regulator so that this harness works. So we're gonna swap this harness over because it has different connectors. And yeah, and we're gonna have to figure out what this goes to right here, which is probably to the door lock. This is different too, so we'll have to see what we need to do. To get the harness out of the new door, we pretty much have to strip it completely. To remove the harness from the door latch, we need to remove the window regulator. We also need to unclip the window from the mounts on the window regulator. We'll strip the original door too to get all the parts that we need for the new door. Okay, so since the door is squished over here, I can't actually slide the regulator over enough to get it out, so I'm actually going to cut the section out here so I can get it out. It also turned out that one of the window mounting points broke on the original door, so it's a good thing we have the spare from the new door. Now we can start installing the original harness into the new door. Now it's time to swap over the screw inserts. Because the door lock mechanism is different on the 2011 and the 2009, we also have to swap those over. There we go. With the right lock and handle in place, we can start putting everything else back into the new door. Then we made sure the windows snapped into the window regulator.
Yep. Down.
And then it was time to install the new door. So this is the new door. As you can see, not quite the same color, but not too far off, I guess.
Oh,
It's kind of
very far off. But nothing a lick of paint won't do.
yeah, we can see we got the gaps are good. They look pretty good. It lines up pretty good, and the door handle works. So that is,
We got to fix the dent in the back of front in that back door,
yeah, we got to work on this.
and then
dent.
get the paint done. So not too worried about the fact that it's a wrong color.
Yeah, so a little bit of body work, fair amount of paint work that we'll get done at some point. And then the fender. So we have a fender right there that's also from a 2011, just like this door. However, it turns out the shape here is different.
This is the most frustrating minor difference ever. So largely,
Oh yeah,
this
so
fender
here,
fits, except
this is flat, and this one curves down here. So we're not going to be able to put it all back together in one day, but that's okay. We did a lot of work with the door.
It would have been a one-day rebuild if I hadn't done a dumb and bought the 2011 fender for the 09.
Yeah. Well,
And to point it out a little bit better, if you look over here, the bumper is flush with the bottom of the headlight and the end of this fender. Mm-hmm. On the new fender, the fender comes down a little bit and the bumper comes this way. So,
yeah, and this one is like the swoop down.
so An '05 to '09 fender will not fit on a 2011, and a 2011 fender will not fit on an '05 to '09 unless you also swap the bumper. And
Which
I did
would
not
mean we would
buy
have
the
to get
bumper.
the other fender, the bumper. That would have been a lot more money.
And so if you wanted to upgrade to a 2011, you could change your fenders and bumper, but that's just not what we're trying to do here.
So I guess what we'll do now is we could put the headlight back in and then put the door card and mirror back in, and we'll be done for the day. Which is big progress.
Yeah.
The reason we needed to also swap the door lock, besides the harness types, is that this slides, it rides in here, but the other style does not have these little nubs on the end that slide in there. So just something to keep in mind. It's on. That's good. Now just put that on. Okay.
Either way.
We also power cycled the truck to see if the adaptive headlights worked, and they do.
They went through the procedure.
So 1-day rebuild, huh?
Look, it would have been a 1-day rebuild if I hadn't screwed up buying the wrong fender. Because, like, look, I mean, the sun's almost gone.
Yeah.
And we have almost no light left. But everything else is back together. We
Yeah.
had enough time to put the mats in.
Yeah,
So
and the door was a lot more work than we expected. I had thought maybe the harness will be different. It was a lot different. So swapping everything over was pretty involved. But it wasn't too bad.
it also is made a little bit worse by the fact that I guess during the accident, one of the mounts on the original window had broken. So
Yeah, well, we would have had to remove it anyway with the window regulator.
So we swapped the glass, we did a little body work,
Mm-hmm.
we changed the door panel, the tire harness, the window,
Yeah. And
put the door on, aligned the door,
yeah, it actually came out pretty good. We got the mirror on.
and everything works.
Yes.
So if I had not screwed up on the...
Well, it's not a huge... we got to find what we can, and this is white, which is close enough. So
Yeah.
that's a big deal. Yeah.
So I'm on the hunt for a
2006.
2005 through 2009
Yeah.
white fender.
Yep.
But as soon as we get that... And
Yeah,
as soon-
ideally Alaska white. And then next time we'll put in the wheel liner, the fender, and then the trim in here, and up the rear door, and the fuel tank metal plate. And then after that, we'll be ready for inspection.
Yeah. And hopefully by then my finger will have healed.
Yeah. Slide hammers are dangerous.
Watch it with slide hammers. Keep your fingers away from the hammer part of it.
Yeah.
I've used them for a long time, and it finally bit me. All these years, finally bit me. But mint?
Minter?
I'm going away. I'm so tired.
So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the rest of the rebuild on this truck. And let me know in the comments if you think this was a good deal for $575. And also let me know in the comments if you've been hanging out on Copart and keeping an eye out for stuff like this. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like. And again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.